I spent 3 years working hard to reunite a deeply divided right-of-center movement here, which for a long time has had, sort of broadly speaking, two currents: a kind of populist, more rural current, and a sort of more traditional Tory, more urban current. And they were expressed in the Wild Rose and PC parties. And I did it by focusing on what united us, the central point of which was getting rid of the NDP and not dividing the vote. And we won a smashing electoral victory over the first time ever a governing party, any party, won over 1 million votes in Alberta. We put together a very carefully calibrated platform that addressed all of the different constituent elements of our pretty diverse coalition. And we were cooking with gas as a government in our first year or so. But then we walked into a crisis that was almost like purpose-built to divide a coalition like ours. Because COVID, of course, forced governments to make impossibly difficult decisions. And there's a big polarization in Alberta. I'm not going to hide it. We, in addition to the tensions in my party, we also have a pretty significant left here. And so we had a large cohort wanted hard and sustained lockdowns, Quebec style. Another group wanted no restrictions at all. And then a smaller minority that became pretty hostile about vaccines. And that's where a lot of the energy from our politics has come out of in the past year. That was clear in my leadership review vote, where over half the people voting in the review vote had never been PC, Wild Rose, or United Conservative members, overwhelmingly from rural areas. And it's clear. If reporters like you wouldn't have seen this, but if you were to go to community halls in many parts of rural Alberta in January and February of this year, there were hundreds and sometimes thousands of people showing up to rally against COVID policy, vaccines, etc. And so there was a radicalization that took place. My hope, John, is that as COVID recedes, so too do those divisions. I do think there is the ability to maintain a Big Tent coalition here. Peter Lougheed and Ralph Klein did it before it fractured. And I think we could get back to that, but not if one of the central themes of the party becomes recrimination over COVID policy, firing doctors and scientists at the College of Physicians, or pursuing de facto separatist policies. So if the party wants to stay united, and if it wants to get reelected, my appeal would be to stay in touch with the broad mainstream. That doesn't mean being a centrist party, it means being a mainstream conservative party. Honor and respect all the constituent elements of your coalition, but don't get jerked away into a ditch of marginal issues, particularly through a kind of endless relitigation of COVID.